She was arrested for leaving her baby in a stroller outside a coffee shop. And they took her child away for a period of time. But she eventually got it back. But it's because in her culture, this was considered normal. You left your babies in strollers outside in the middle of winter because it toughened them up. In our culture, we think that's child abuse. Someone else thinks something. This is weird. So when we're thinking about these issues, we have to go, is this really child abuse? I don't think so. And there's other countries that disagree with us. I even think about the ways which I was raised, which if any parent now raised me the way my mother did, I just think of she would be put in jail.
So my parents go.
Yeah, like we didn't have seatbelts. I'm not saying we were right and now we're wrong, or vice versa, as much as it was considered nothing at all to leave your kids sitting in your car while you went in shopping. Right? It was like, all right, and we would play like we were driving. And now it's like, oh, you abandoned your kids, Seatbelts, yeah, the seatbelt was being wedged between two brothers, Anyway, other ways in which your culture affects you. So it affects your religion. So we want to see this. One of my favorite quotes on this topic, which I think has a lot of truth to it, comes from a pre-Socratic philosopher, a philosopher who lived before Socrates. And he writes, if cattle or horses or lions had hands and were able to draw with their hands and do the works that men do, horses would draw gods like horses, cattle like cattle, and lions like lions. And this is actually worth pondering, this quote, because religion is a major cultural influence, and so it's worth asking, how do people pick their religion? Do you think people pick their religion by sitting down and choosing? Right? If that were the way in which people chose their religion, what pattern of religions would you find across the globe? Right? If everyone sat down and independently said, I'm going to study Taoism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, what would be the pattern of religion across the globe if people chose to do this? I'm sorry, go back a little slide. What would be the pattern of religion? See if you can figure this out. If everyone chose independently,
Would it be more of an even split? More like you would have, because like here you have a more Christian base, but and then like if you go to like the Middle East, you have more of a
Muslim split.
right. So if they were to pick their own, would it be more of an even like Judaism or Buddhism?
Or it might be more random across the globe, right? Because if I'm considering them all, and they're all equally good, in a social science sense, then we would expect a random distribution.
I think people would pick whatever benefited them the best, what they thought benefited them.
Like the easiest path to salvation.
People might pick so there might be other variables. What's the easiest path? Or with yours, it might be, well, it might benefit me the most if I convert to Islam if I'm in an Islamic country. But that's not me going, Islam is right. That's me going, wow, if I were Islamic, there's a lot of benefits. So, but before we get into this, I do need to say, I don't care whether the beliefs are true or false. Social scientists do not get involved in the game of Islam is true, Christianity is false, or vice versa. But if I can use it to predict your behavior, that's certainly something I would want to know, right? I don't care what religion you are, but if I can say, you were born in Saudi Arabia, so I bet. Or you were born, anyone know what country has the highest proportion of Muslims in the globe? Indonesia, yeah. If I were to go, you're Indonesian. So what we're going to see is, as we go around the globe, there are dozens and dozens of religions, depending on how you want to calculate religion versus denomination. And these religions influence how people see the world. So it's worth going, well, how do people pick their religion? How do people do this? And so if we were to if people did individually pick their religion, we would expect them to be evenly distributed across the globe, somewhat randomly, right? Right? So I might expect to find, I look at the teachings of Muhammad and go, these are awesome. Many, many great things in these Islamic teachings. Or I might look at the teachings of the Christian Baptist and go, really, really good teaching. That's right downtown. What? Yeah, 16th Street Baptist Church, yeah. Or I might look at the Jewish religion and read the Jewish epic and go, this is incredibly awesome. Or I might choose no religion whatsoever after all this consideration. For those curious, this is apparently the symbol for American atheists. It's really a symbol for materialism, but the A makes it where it's for American atheists. So, but you would expect this. Anyone want to guess what actual distribution you find?
You find pockets of religion.
We find pockets of religion. As we go around the globe, we don't find a random distribution whatsoever. So we find large pockets or large areas where it's Catholic, or it's Baptist, or it's Buddhist, or it's Muslim. Right? So we don't find a random distribution. We find people adopting the religion of their area. Well, there's another word for this. You already know this word. Conformity. Yeah. And it sort of leads us to go, okay, this large-scale cultural thing, there's nothing wrong with this as much as this is quite a different view from saying, oh, I have studied all of them and this is the correct one. It's much more, everyone else around me is Baptist. If you were to do this for our nation, this is the distribution of religion in our nation. Baptist. Yeah, Catholic. Obviously, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They're in Utah. Let's see. I don't know what distinguishes the Christian from the Catholic and the Baptist and the other one. I've always been surprised. Or Lutheran, so where are they located? Methodist. So it certainly, for this very large-scale issue, it certainly seems that people are looking at what's around them and going, alrighty. Yeah, you're turning your head. You go, which one do you go for?
I was trying to see the one next to the red.
We have Baptist, Catholic, Christian, Latter-day Saints, Lutheran, Methodist, Mennonite, Methodist, Reformed, and other. But even more so, we can look at some more subtle ways that cultures influence religion. This is probably one of the most obvious one in our culture. If we were to go, what color was Jesus? Jesus was a historical individual. He really lived. He really at some point walked the earth and said things to people. And he was a nationality, right? He was a Semite. Jesus was a Jew, right? Saying that for some reason people go, what? Jesus was not a Jew. He was a Jew. Jesus was a Jew. He looked like a Semite. But when you ever see representations of Jesus, say, in art, in Western art, he doesn't look very Semitic to me. He looks kind of, what's the word I want? White. Yeah, or European. If you were to go to some Christian churches, let's say in Africa, how do you think Jesus is presented there? Oh, black Jesus? Well, not. It is just as valid as white Jesus.
No, I wasn't saying it like that. I was just surprised that he didn't look more.
Yeah. I was expecting it to be.
He looks like Byron. Well, a thinner, more in shape Byron. But he's got dreadlocks and you got dreadlocks and
Byron's on his way to that.
yeah, Byron's on his way there.
Looks like a white guy.
Yeah,
What?
from here it looks like a white guy.
Oh, he looks white to you?
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's what the surprise was.
Oh, that was a surprise?
Oh, there it is.
That was funny.
That's right.
Yeah,
I am so sorry for not finding a blacker Jesus. Byron, can you pose some pictures for me? Might have to Photoshop a little bit to make this work. This reminds me of something else from Xenophanes, though. Xenophanes, remember, he's the one who did the cows and horses one. And he writes, the Ethiopians say their gods are snub-nosed and black. The Thracians, the Greeks, with light eyes and blue hair. We often paint our gods to make them look like us. Intriguing way. There are other ways in which your religion sort of deeply starts coloring your views of these kinds of things. And one good example of this looks at how the religious leaders experienced their contact with the divine. So you can we can say Jesus experienced a contact with the divine, but did Jesus say, oh my goodness, I experienced it as a Hindu? Or how did Jesus experience his concept of the divine? Well, he was Jewish. He experienced his divine as Jewish. What about Buddha? Did Buddha say, I am the Messiah? Or how did Buddha experience his concept of the divine? Right? As a Hindu. How did Muhammad experience his concept of the divine? Did Muhammad say, oh yes, I am part of this great tradition extending back to the Brahmins?
I know nothing.
Well, I mean, you know enough to know that Muhammad probably didn't say he was part of the Brahmin tradition, right? Yeah, so the Buddha felt he was special in a Hindu way, Jesus in a Jewish way, Muhammad in an Arabic way. Joseph Smith didn't go around, hey, I'm a Brahmin. He's like, I found some golden plates and I'm part of this tradition. This is intriguing because one piece of data often used by some individuals is near-death experiences to support their view of the divine. Anyone want to guess how people experience their near-death experiences? Just take a guess.
As their religion.
As their religion. People experience their near-death experiences in accord with their religion. So the Christians experience it as we're in heaven. Other religions don't experience it that way. Not because they're wrong. They're not like, oh, suddenly that's wrong. It's they experience it in their culturally specific way. This is very intriguing. Your religion affects you very, very deeply. So at a very, very deep level, people experience the world through their religion's lens. And this is cool. This lets me make a lot of predictions about people's behavior. Because now if I can go, okay, I don't know anything about you, but I know that you live in this culture at this time period, I can start making some predictions. Yeah.
Would this hold true if we were looking at somebody that claimed to be agnostic or atheist in the United States where it has such a Christian?
Well, remember if you sort of go back to our first principles, we're going to have a distribution of behavior. And if I'm wondering what you predict, if I can know that you are part of a particular religious tradition, that can help me narrow down.
Oh, okay.
If I don't know, then I can't really plug anything into that spot. But it does in other ways. Oh, I got a couple minutes to give y'all food. How does your culture influence the food you eat? It influences what you think is food, right? Here is a cultural map of the United States in terms of what we eat. Cornbread, that's what Alabama gets. I don't know, peaches, no surprise, Georgia. Don't know why Tennessee gets tomatoes. It was just other than the T's go together. Yeah, okay, I get Florida and oranges, but I don't think Tennessee tomatoes. I really want some Tennessee and tomatoes. It's never. If you're from Tennessee, my apologies. Feel free to send me tomatoes, though. Hell, But your culture tells you what's food. Anybody want some delicious fried scorpions? I love me some fried scorpions. Or do you want a giant grilled spider?
No.
Or some worms? Or some maggots? Delicious maggots. Oh, I could go for a plate of those. Oh, some delicious grubs, right? We don't think of these things as food. We think of cow as food. But anyone know what trouble Burger King has gotten into last week? Horses. They've been putting horse.
What?
Some Burger Kings have been putting horse meat, or sorry, their supplier put horse meat into the, See, you like, as far as you know, horses are delicious and tasty.
I know.
So if I were to go, should you eat horse meat? And the choices were yay or nay. want to give me that one? Your culture also influences what you eat with. That was cheesy. I know. I was like, don't do it. Don't go for the name joke. Don't do it. Oh, you did it. Anyway, your culture's going to influence lots of things about you. We'll start on Wednesday looking at how it influences your language.